All right, so here's where things are getting spicy in the Bay Area right now, because the Jonathan Kaminga saga has gone from quiet off-season chatter to a full-blown staring contest between player and team, with both sides holding their ground like neither one wants to blink first. If you've been following the Golden State Warriors this summer, you know this has been bubbling for a while, but over the last few weeks, it started to feel less like standard negotiating and more like a high-stakes poker game. On one side, you've got Kaminga and his reps, floating the possibility that he could take the qualifying offer, $7.9 million for 1 year, a deal that would hand him unrestricted free agency next summer and give him a no-trade clause in the meantime. On the other side, you've got the Warriors sticking firm to their 2-year, $45 million offer, which really isn't a 2-year deal at all when you look under the hood. It's a 1-year deal at about $21 million with a team option for the second year and no guaranteed money beyond that. It's the kind of structure Golden State likes for flexibility, but for Kaminga, it's basically a leash. The tension here comes from the fact that taking the qualifying offer would be a nightmare for the Warriors front office. They'd be looking at losing a $20 million trade chip for nothing next summer, which for a team trying to maximize the tail end of Stephen Curry's prime is almost unthinkable. If you're trying to add talent midseason, you need contracts in that salary range to make deals work. And if Kaminga walked for nothing, you can't replace that slot. But from Kaminga's perspective, signing for 1 year and betting on himself could mean total control over his career path, the freedom to choose his next stop without worrying about being shipped somewhere midseason. Of course, there's a gamble in that too. He'd be passing up a ton of guaranteed money now, and there's no promise that next summer's market will be overflowing with cap space or big offers. What makes this even trickier is that there's been zero progress in the last couple of weeks. According to the reports coming out, the Warriors haven't sweetened their offer, and Kaminga is leaning toward the qualifying offer over the current deal on the table. Neither side seems in a rush, and insiders are saying this could easily stretch into September, maybe even right up to the October 1st deadline. That's not the kind of timeline you want if you're hoping to have a relaxed training camp and a drama-free start to the season. The longer it drags, the more awkward it's going to be when Kaminga walks back into that locker room, especially given everything that happened between him and Steve Kerr last season. And let's not forget how he got here. Early last year, Kaminga finally started to see the kind of role he's been asking for. More touches, more scoring responsibility, some huge games, even back-to-back 30-point outings. Then January hit, and a sprained ankle sidelined him for over 2 months. While he was rehabbing, the Warriors swung a trade for Jimmy Butler, which looked like a smart move at the time, but completely altered Kaminga's fit in the rotation. Playing next to Butler and Draymond Green, neither of whom are real floor spacers, shrank the court for him. Defenses just loaded up on Curry and dared the other guys to shoot. By the time Kaminga returned, the rhythm was gone. He lost his starting spot, had that now infamous stretch where he ignored Curry on multiple possessions, and ended up benched for the final game of the regular season, the play-in, and most of the first round. It wasn't until Curry went down in the second round against Minnesota that Kaminga got back in, and while he put up big individual numbers, the Warriors were never really competitive in those games. From his perspective, the message was clear. No matter how well he plays, his role in Golden State is shaky, and his relationship with Kerr is complicated at best. That's why his camp has been exploring sign-and-trade scenarios all off-season. The problem is the market isn't exactly overflowing with great options. Miami made other moves. Chicago reshaped their roster. Phoenix doesn't have the assets, and while Sacramento showed the most interest, they weren't willing to part with their best young players. On top of that, the salary matching math is brutal. Because of base year compensation rules, Golden State can only take back half of Kaminga's first-year salary in a sign-and trade, which makes building a deal almost impossible without moving other pieces. And that's where things hit another wall. The Warriors don't want to include players like Buddy Hield or Moses Moody, both of whom are considered valuable contributors and part of the locker room chemistry. Without them, the numbers just don't work. So now all those conversations with other teams have fizzled, and everything points to Kaminga starting the season in a Warriors uniform, whether he's on the qualifying offer or the 1+1 team-friendly deal. Of course, there's been a little wrinkle thrown into the mix. Reports suggest the Warriors still have genuine interest in Josh Giddy, the Australian guard they almost drafted back in 2021 before Oklahoma City snagged him one pick earlier, leaving Golden State to take Kaminga. The front office has apparently kept tabs on Giddy and even communicated that interest to his representatives. The idea of a Kaminga for Giddy swap is intriguing on paper, but again, the salary rules and roster priorities make it nearly impossible right now. Not to mention, it's unclear how much Giddy would actually solve Golden State's issues. He's a gifted passer and can finish around the rim, but he's not a shooter or a strong defender, two areas the Warriors need to address if they're going to make another deep run. Meanwhile, Kaminga's been away from all this noise, spending time overseas playing exhibitions for the Republic of Congo. But he's not on their final AfroBasket roster, which means he's heading back stateside and likely gearing up for training work in Miami. That could put him right back in the middle of this negotiation soon. Whether that leads to actual movement on a deal or just more posturing, we'll see. But the stakes are high. Too high for Golden State to let this drag until it blows up in their face. From the team's perspective, the qualifying offer is a doomsday scenario. From Kaminga's perspective, it's leverage. And in this kind of standoff, leverage is everything. The big question now is who's going to blink first, and whether this whole thing ends in a handshake or an awkward season with a cloud hanging over it. Because one thing's for sure, if they mess this up, it won't just hurt the roster next year. It could reshape the Warriors' trajectory for years to come. If part one was about setting the table, this part is where the drama really starts to simmer, because now we're in that uncomfortable middle ground where everyone knows the stakes, everyone knows the timeline, but neither side is willing to move. It's like watching two drivers pull up to a four-way stop and both just sit there, each one waiting for the other to go first. The Warriors, for all their talk about valuing Jonathan Kaminga as a future All-Star, are still holding the line on an offer that feels more about protecting themselves than. Of course, the gamble cuts both ways. Taking the qualifying offer means not only leaving a large chunk of guaranteed money on the table, but also putting himself at the mercy of whatever market conditions exist next summer. What if injuries hit again? What if his minutes get slashed? What if the league's cap flexibility tightens even further and there aren't many big offers waiting? It's a bet on his talent and his durability, and those are the kinds of bets that can make or break a career. That's why some people around the league think Golden State might call his bluff, let the deadline approach, and see if he's really willing to roll those dice. Meanwhile, the list of potential trade partners has shrunk to almost nothing. Miami was an option until they made their move for Norman Powell. Chicago looked like a possibility before they grabbed Isaac Okoro and drafted Noah Clowney. Sacramento had the money and interest, but wouldn't give up the kind of young talent that would make Golden State bite. Phoenix? Forget it. Their asset cupboard is bare. Even if the Warriors wanted to pivot to a sign-in trade to get something back, the salary matching rules for base-year players like Kaminga make the math ugly. They can only take back half his first-year salary, which means they'd have to add other players into the deal, and that's where they slam into another wall. They don't want to give up Buddy Hield or Moses Moody. That's where the Josh Giddy wrinkle comes in. The Warriors have had eyes on him since the 2021 draft when they were ready to take him at number 7 before Oklahoma City snatched him at 6. The idea of finally landing Giddy has been floating around, and reports say Golden State has even reached out to his representation to keep that interest alive. On paper, a Kaminga for Giddy swap has some logic. Giddy is a creative passer, a big guard who can rebound and initiate offense, and he could take some of the playmaking load off Curry's shoulders. But he's also a shaky shooter and a below-average defender, and the Warriors have made it clear they need to get better in both of those areas if they want to contend. Plus, the same salary matching headaches apply, so it's not as simple as you take ours, we take yours. While all of this is playing out in the media, Kaminga's been keeping his head down, training, and staying away from the States for much of the summer. His time with the Republic of Congo's national team was a reminder of how proud he is to represent his country, but his absence from their final AfroBasket roster signals he's ready to shift focus back to the NBA grind. That means more time in Miami, more off-season development, and inevitably more conversations with his camp about how to handle these final weeks before the deadline. The real question hanging over this is whether Joe Lacob and the Warriors front office are willing to bend at all. Lacob has been vocal about how much he values Kaminga and how he sees him as a future All-Star. He's also been stubborn about not moving him for what he sees as underwhelming trade packages. That suggests he won't let Kaminga walk for nothing. But if he truly believes in Kaminga's long-term potential, why not add a little more guaranteed money to the offer and lock him in? The answer might lie in the team's broader cap picture. With Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler all on significant deals, every extra dollar committed to Kaminga impacts flexibility to reshape the roster around that core. And with the new CBA adding harsher penalties for teams deep into the tax, it's not just about paying money. It's about losing access to certain roster-building tools altogether. There's also the matter of optics. If Golden State caves now, it could set a precedent for other young players on the roster or future draft picks. It's the classic, if we give in once, will we have to give in again? Dilemma that front offices wrestle with. But the flip side is, if they play too hardball and push Kaminga toward the qualifying offer, they risk creating a rift that's impossible to repair. Locker rooms feel that stuff. Players know when one of their own is being frozen out or underpaid, and it can shift the entire mood of a team. The other subplot here is Al Horford. He's not the centerpiece of this saga by any means, but he's part of the off-season puzzle. Golden State sees him as a key piece for next year, someone who can bring stability, veteran leadership, and spacing in the front court. But retirement is still on the table for him, according to reports, and if he decides to walk away, it would leave the Warriors scrambling to fill a very specific role. Losing Horford on top of mishandling the Kaminga situation would be a brutal 1-2 punch for the front office. It's the kind of scenario that can shift the narrative around a team from smart, stable contender to slipping in the wrong direction. So here we are, a month and a half until the deadline, a pile of dead-end trade talks, and two sides locked in a staring contest that could drag into the start of camp. The Warriors want Kaminga on their terms. Kaminga wants security and role clarity, and neither side wants to lose face. For fans, it's maddening. For the front office, it's a test of negotiation skill. For Kaminga, it's a moment that could define his career path for the next decade. And for the rest of the league, it's a chance to watch one of the NBA's most intriguing player-team standoffs play out in real time. The next few weeks won't just be about numbers on a contract. They'll be about leverage, trust, and whether Golden State can keep all the pieces of its championship window in place before that window starts to close. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. The basketball world is abuzz with whispers that CADE Cunningham, the young sensation previously anchoring the Detroit Pistons, is on the verge of joining the Golden State Warriors under what insiders describe as a historic contract. While no official announcement has been made, multiple sources claim that negotiations have reached an advanced stage, with figures surpassing anything the franchise has committed to in recent years. Fans are already envisioning the possibilities of pairing Cunningham's versatile playmaking with Stephen Curry's shooting brilliance, creating a backcourt dynamic that could redefine modern NBA offenses. The Bay Area is no stranger to blockbuster moves, but the scale of this rumored agreement has even veteran analysts raising their eyebrows. Questions swirl about how this would impact the Warriors' current roster balance and salary cap structure. Yet the excitement appears to outweigh the uncertainty. Social media platforms are flooded with speculative trade packages and cap gymnastics, with armchair general managers attempting to make sense of the potential reshuffle. The idea of Cunningham donning the iconic blue and gold jersey has set off waves of debate, and for the moment, the rumor mill is working overtime to keep pace with the fanbase's rising anticipation. The basketball world is abuzz with whispers that CADE Cunningham, the young sensation previously anchoring the Detroit Pistons, is on the verge of joining the Golden State Warriors under what insiders describe as a historic contract. While no official announcement has been made, multiple sources claim that negotiations have reached an advanced stage, with figures surpassing anything the franchise has committed to in recent years. Fans are already envisioning the possibilities of pairing Cunningham's versatile playmaking with Stephen Curry's shooting brilliance, creating a backcourt dynamic that could redefine modern NBA offenses. The Bay Area is no stranger to blockbuster moves, but the scale of this rumored agreement has even veteran analysts raising their eyebrows. Questions swirl about how this would impact the Warriors' current roster balance and salary cap structure. Yet the excitement appears to outweigh the uncertainty. Social media platforms are flooded with speculative trade packages and cap gymnastics, with armchair general managers attempting to make sense of the potential reshuffle. The idea of Cunningham donning the iconic blue and gold jersey has set off waves of debate, and for the moment, the rumor mill is working overtime to keep pace with the fanbase's rising anticipation. As the whispers grow louder, the financial magnitude of this potential contract is becoming a central talking point. Reports suggest the deal could span multiple years, with a total value that might eclipse the largest player contract in Warriors history. Insiders hint that the agreement could include performance bonuses, media appearance clauses, and unique endorsement tie-ins designed to both retain Cunningham long-term and elevate his personal brand within the Bay Area market. This structure would allow the Warriors to market Cunningham not only as an on-court contributor, but as a cultural figure tied closely to the team's identity. Such an investment could indicate that Golden State sees him as a successor to Curry's leadership mantle in the near future. However, skeptics point to the Warriors' tight salary situation, suggesting that some beloved veteran players might be moved to make room for the new arrival. This fuels debates about whether the franchise should sacrifice continuity for a generational talent who, while immensely promising, has yet to experience the deep playoff runs that define championship-caliber leaders. Still, the thought of a young star growing within the Warriors system remains an alluring proposition for management and fans alike. Beyond the financial and roster implications, there is a strategic allure driving the rumored pursuit. Cunningham's size, vision, and ability to control the pace of the game could give Golden State new tactical dimensions they have not fully explored since their Kevin Durant era. Imagine offensive sets where Curry plays more off-ball, using screens to create open looks, while Cunningham orchestrates plays from the top of the key. Defensively, his length could help the Warriors match up better against bigger guards and wings in the Western Conference. For head coach Steve Kerr, integrating such a multifaceted player could unlock fresh rotations and unpredictable schemes that keep opponents guessing deep into the postseason. However, critics wonder whether integrating Cunningham's style into the Warriors' famously free-flowing offense will be seamless or require significant adjustments for both sides. Veteran players may need to alter their roles, and Kerr might face tough choices regarding minutes and lineups. Despite these concerns, the basketball community's fascination with the hypothetical fit has only grown, with podcasts, sports radio shows, and TV analysts devoting entire segments to mapping out how Cunningham could reshape the team's identity over the next decade. Adding fuel to the fire are unconfirmed reports of behind-the-scenes meetings between Cunningham's representatives and key figures within the Warriors organization. Anonymous sources claim that private dinners and closed-door discussions have taken place in San Francisco, though both parties remain tight-lipped in public. Observers note that Curry himself has been unusually active in his public praise for Cunningham's game, sparking theories that the two have already discussed potential on-court chemistry. Meanwhile, Draymond Green's cryptic social media posts, featuring golden emojis and chess piece icons, have been dissected for possible hidden messages about the team's intentions. NBA insiders have long noted that when players begin signaling interest in one another publicly, the potential arrival of Cunningham in Golden State would mark a significant chapter in the franchise's ongoing evolution. From the dynastic dominance of the Curry-Thompson-Green era to the cautious retooling of recent seasons, the Warriors have been searching for the next foundational piece to extend their relevance beyond their current core's prime years. If this historic contract materializes, it could signal a bold commitment to blending established championship pedigree with emerging star power. For Cunningham, the move would represent both an opportunity and a challenge, stepping into a team with sky-high expectations and a fan base accustomed to winning at the highest level. Success would catapult him into the conversation as one of the league's most influential players. Struggles could invite relentless scrutiny from one of basketball's most passionate markets. In either case, the sheer scale of the rumored deal ensures it would dominate headlines for weeks, if not months. Until the ink is dry and the jerseys are printed, this story will remain suspended in that electrifying space between speculation and reality, where dreams, doubts, and possibilities mingle freely, and where every whispered update has the power to set the basketball world buzzing all over again. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.